You need to learn how to use silence as a weapon. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation before where you were trying to make small talk with someone and they just kept cutting you off and not letting you speak. They just kept interrupting you and talking over you. It's annoying, it's frustrating, but there are ways that you can turn the tables and use silence as a powerful weapon against anyone who tries to interrupt or talk over you again. Now, before we get into this video, I want you to understand something. This is going to be high-value information, so please don't click away. And I also want you to do me a huge favor and hit that like button down below if you're getting any type of value out of this video at all. And if you're really enjoying my content, then consider subscribing, because I put out multiple videos every single week, and I don't want you to miss any of them. But with that said, let's begin. The first thing you need to understand about using silence as a weapon is what I like to call a strong hook. A strong hook is when you say something that is so interesting or so shocking that it immediately captures the person's attention. You have their undivided focus. For example, let's say you're talking to someone and you're trying to make conversation, right? So you're like, "Hey, how you doing? How was your day?" They're like, "Oh, it was good. I went to the store and I got some groceries." You're like, "Oh, really? What kind of groceries did you get?" And then they start telling you all about the groceries they got. So now you got their full attention. Then you could say something like, "You know what? That reminds me of the weirdest dream I had last night." Now their attention is fully tuned into what you're saying because you gave them something that was unexpected. You hooked them in. So whenever you're trying to use silence as a weapon, you first need to start with a strong hook. If you don't do that, no one's gonna pay attention to your silence. Here's another example. Let's say you're in a business meeting and everyone's around the table and the CEO of the company is leading the meeting, and they ask everyone a question and everyone starts giving their opinion and input. And then finally it comes back to you, and before you could even respond, the guy next to you talks over you and gives his opinion. Now here you don't want to be that person that gets all flustered and is like, no, I had an idea. Yeah, let me go. No, that's weak. Instead, you want to say something like, "That's an interesting point he brings up. However," and then pause for a moment. Everyone's going to look at you waiting for you to speak. Then you drop your idea. But here's what I think. Now you have everyone's attention and you have their focus. So when you're trying to use silence as a weapon, always remember to start with a strong hook. Otherwise, people aren't going to listen to your silence. The second way that you can use silence as a weapon is to simply remain silent. It sounds simple, yet most people never do it. They're always trying to fill the silence. They're always trying to keep the conversation going. They're always afraid of being awkward or uncomfortable. But you need to learn how to use silence to your advantage. Here's a great example. Let's say you're at a party and you meet a girl and you're having a conversation with her and she's asking you questions about yourself, right? So you tell her a little bit about you, you tell her about your job, maybe your hobbies, and then she goes completely silent. There's a pause in the conversation. Most guys in this scenario would be very uncomfortable. They'd try to fill the silence by either asking her more questions or telling her more about themselves. But instead, you want to remain silent. You want to embrace the silence. You want to give her the opportunity to share more about herself. Because here's the thing, women love to talk about themselves. It makes them feel important, valued, and special. So when you remain silent and you allow her to talk, she's going to automatically feel more attracted to you. Also, it's going to give you the opportunity to observe her and see how she behaves and how she carries herself. In the meantime, while she's talking, you could be sizing her up as well. And if you're not sure how to size a woman up, I'll link a video below that will show you exactly how to do that. But either way, The bottom line is, you need to learn how to use silence to your advantage. Remaining silent is a powerful way to attract women. It's also a great way to test someone to see if they're worth your time or not. And it's also a good way to give others the opportunity to share more about themselves. Remember, silence can be a man's best friend. Number 3 is to delay your response. Now, this is similar to remaining silent, but it's a little different. When you delay your response, you're actually speaking, but you're taking your time to carefully select your words. You're not rushing to respond. You're not trying to fill the silence. Instead, you're thinking strategically about how to best respond. For example, let's say you're in a debate and the other person says something that is intentionally trying to provoke you. They're trying to bait you into a reaction. Don't take the bait. Instead, stay calm and collected and simply pause. Take a few moments to think about your response. Respond confidently and without hesitation. By delaying your response, you not only come across as being calm and rational, but you also have the opportunity to formulate a thoughtful response that will make the other person regret provoking you in the first place. The same thing applies to arguments with women. If a woman is trying to provoke you or bait you into an argument, don't take the bait. Remain calm and composed and simply pause and think about your response. By delaying your response, you'll not only appear to be the bigger person, but you'll also be able to formulate a response that will make her regret trying to provoke you in the first place. So whenever someone is trying to bait you or provoke you into a reaction, simply pause and delay your response. This is a powerful way to handle difficult conversations, and it's also a great way to show others that you're not easily intimidated. Number 4, pretend you didn't hear anything. Sometimes it's better to pretend you didn't hear something rather than confront it head-on. For example, let's say you're at a party and you're talking to a group of people and they start gossiping about someone behind their back. If you don't want to participate in the gossip, simply pretend you didn't hear anything. Change the subject or steer the conversation in a different direction. Pretending you did not hear anything can be a polite way to distance yourself from negative or uncomfortable conversations. It's also a great way to avoid getting pulled into drama. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where someone is talking about someone else behind their back, simply pretend you didn't hear anything. Just act like you didn't hear it and change the subject. This is a very zen way of dealing with things, and it's also a very mature way of handling situations. And finally, the 5th way to use silence as a weapon is to ask a question. Asking a question is another way to break the silence and take control of the conversation. It shows that you're interested in the other person, and it also gives you more information about them. For example, let's say you're on a date with a woman and things are going well. You've been talking about your jobs and hobbies and interests, and then suddenly she stops talking. She goes completely silent. Instead of sitting there awkwardly in silence, simply ask a question. Ask her more about herself. Ask her about her dreams and aspirations, or ask her about a topic that you know she's passionate about. By asking questions, you're showing that you're interested in her and that you want to know more about her. It also gives her the opportunity to talk about things that she enjoys talking about. And when women get to talk about things that they love, they feel more engaged, more connected, and more attracted to you. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where the conversation has come to a halt, simply ask a question. It's a great way to break the silence and take control of the conversation. So those are 5 ways that you can use silence as a weapon. If you're still watching this video, it means I caught your attention. I made you curious. I made you wonder what the 5 ways were. And now you know. And if you really want to dive deeper into the art of masculinity, I'm going to leave 2 more videos up on the screen that will help you become more masculine. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. When you subscribe, I release multiple videos every single week, and I don't want you to miss any of them. But with that said, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.